Stangibelisco here with another little story such as that old men like me like to spiel out from time to time. I've said before in other videos that I was a trained beach lifeguard. This was back in 1980. I took the lifeguard training course in Brevard County, Florida, in the town of Melbourne. We learned a lot of things. We had classes. We had some pretty rigorous training. Army or Marine Corps boot camp probably wouldn't be a heck of a lot more difficult, except the teacher was a little nicer than a drill sergeant. But what I recall about that course may well have saved my own life. I never took a job as a beach lifeguard down there because the pay was minimum wage at that time, and I thought, geez, here's people it's one of the most important jobs you could possibly have, and you're paying people a minimum wage. It doesn't make sense. A lot of things don't make sense, but they happen anyway, of course. Well, a couple of things didn't make a whole lot of sense, but they happened to me anyway, years later. I ran into a man-o-war off of Key Biscayne, Florida one day, and I was stung all over the upper part of my body by that thing. You can look up man-o-war or Portuguese man-o-war in Wikipedia and learn all about them. They look like little blue balloons, but you don't see them when you're swimming. And I was seriously swimming in that water, and I ran head-on into this thing, and its purple tentacles came down all over my upper body. I knew what the antidote was for the venom of that thing. I knew what you were supposed to do because I had been trained as a beach lifeguard. But when I ran to the lifeguard stand and asked them if they had any ammonia water and anything for the man-o-war, they didn't have a doggone thing. These were kids, probably similar in pay to what I would have gotten in Brevard County, Florida, but smoother, warmer water, for sure, and more poisonous water at that particular time. And I remember cussing that lifeguard out a blue streak, telling him a streak similar to the color of the venom that came out of those tentacles and caused me to nearly go into cardiopulmonary collapse. They called the paramedics. It was so bad. I made a huge scene. Some people are sensitive to that venom more than others, and I apparently was sensitive to it and had to take its full force. I'm lucky I lived. But it taught me a lesson. Every time I went to the beach thereafter, I took a bottle of ammonia water with me in a backpack, which I always left on the beach by my towel and all that other stuff. And I would regularly swim long distances in the ocean. And I did this when I lived in South Beach, Miami during the early 1990s. I used to swim every morning, particularly during the summer when the water was in the 80s, and it was smooth as glass some mornings. But one morning I was so unfortunate as to run into a man-o-war. Not one, in fact, but two. And I was stung all over my upper body just as before, but much worse. Much, much worse. There were two of the bloody things. I went to the lifeguard stand and, well, no, I didn't. I didn't do that because I had my ammonia water. I was going to solve the problem for myself. But I did tell a couple of people who happened to be nearby that they might want to call the lifeguard over and have him take a look, have him watch over me in case I started to have a fit. I picked those tentacles off with my fingertips, just as you're supposed to, right away, as soon as possible. Your fingertips, the skin is too thick for those little stingers to get through. And I figured by then I was already stung over half my body. What would the fingertips make? And I took those things off, and I had 1-to-1 ammonia and water diluted. I wasn't messing around, and that was a whole liter of this stuff. And I just poured that ammonia water all over my whole body after I took those stingers off. And then I went over to the lifeguard and said, you might want to take, you mind if I lie here a while, and in case I start to die, you could do something? And I put on my headphones, and there was a song, I don't remember the title, but it was something about, I don't remember, something about getting stoned or something like that. And I was listening to rock music and laying on the beach and waiting for that venom to start trying to kill me. The clouds overhead drifted by. Partly cloudy day, typical of Miami Beach in the summer. And I sat there, laid there and figured, I got a lot of stuff to do with my life, but when your number is up, it's up, you know. If it starts to kill me, it's going to get me this time. If it almost killed me the first time, I'm a goner here. I'm a dead man. And I waited, and I waited, and I waited. 15, 20, 30 minutes. A lot of pain. Those things hurt. But no reaction. The training that I received in Melbourne, Florida in 1980 to become a beach lifeguard, and this was the real deal. I mean, this was like the real Baywatch deal, okay? I had trained for all of that, and I knew exactly what to do, and I had done it, and it worked. The venom did not take effect. After about 30 minutes of listening to the best rock station in Miami, which ain't saying much. If you want to hear good rock music, go to Austin, Texas, or Los Angeles, California, but don't go to Miami, okay? But it was good enough for that particular purpose. And wouldn't you know it, it may well be that the single life I saved as a result of my lifeguard training was my own. Stan Gibilisco signing off. Until next yarn. So long.